All right, everyone. The Atlantic has a very interesting article now, link in the description, archived, of course, where they're talking about, brace yourselves because it's possible that Trump might win in 2020. Now, I've said consistently I think he will. I think he has an advantage. I think he has multiple advantages. And the Atlantic is unwittingly kind of saying the same thing. Here's what their article really means. If you look at it, read the article for what it really is. They lambaste Trump and say, well, Orange Man bad, basically. He's inept, he's corrupt, he's bigoted, violent, insane. He's everything wrong with the United States. He's everything wrong with the world. He's unpatriotic. He's the devil incarnate. But he might win. What does this say about the Democratic Party? What does it say about a Bernie Sanders or a Joe Biden or a Pete Buttigieg that they can't beat someone that, according to the Atlantic's own self-same article, the one talking about these people as well and why they might lose, how is it that they can lose against someone for whom that many evil platitudes actually exist? If somebody is that bereft of logic, is that dumb, is that strategically unsound, dangerous, and unstable, how is it that they could win re-election? Because the only option to answer that question, I would think, would be the Democrats suck worse. How can the Democrats suck worse than what they're heaping upon Trump in the opening of this very same article? This is where the legacy media's reason really breaks down. And think about it this way. The Atlantic is a Democrat publication. It's not even ideological or money related so much for the Atlantic. It really is just partisan loyalty. For them to come out with an article like this, especially at such a critical time, is funny. Meanwhile, I'm going to be analyzing separately Salon's cherry-picking the polls again to declare that there's a Biden surge. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. By the way, I agree with the summation of the Atlantic in part. I do believe Trump has a chance. It's just that they think that it's a remote chance. I think it's a very high chance. I think there's a very high likelihood Trump will be reelected. It's very funny how all these groups now are rambling about the economy. The economy that they ignored for months and months and months because there were no negative markers and everything was fine. They're like, oh my God, Orange Man racist at the time. All of a sudden they do a 180. Now it's nonstop economic reporting because of recession indicators. Oh my God, the investors got jumpy. There's a decent chance it reverses itself and it's a foreshock, in which case it could be after the election that you get a downturn. Or it could be it's literally nothing but statistical noise. It's hard to tell. If these people, honestly, could tell you what the economy was going to do, they wouldn't have to have a job. They'd be billionaires. They would maybe even trillionaires. They'd be richer than Silicon Valley. They wouldn't have to give fiscal advice. So I question that. It's possible. At any given time, any given day, there could be a recession somewhere in the world. There could always also be, literally, you could hit oil in the middle of Nebraska again or something, and all of a sudden we find the U.S. has $1 trillion of extra energy resources right 10 feet from the surface. There's no way to tell. So pardon me if I question that logic of using that as an indicator of where politics will go, because there's no telling where it will go. So it's not really worth it. All things considered, Trump still has fairly high ratings on economic issues, and that's for a reason. The Atlantic wants to discount that. It's like Maher twice now. I think he reiterated, well, I said that Donald Trump would lose if we had a recession. I stick to that. I hope we have one, because they'll get rid of evil Orange Man. It's interesting how an individual who's rich, he's got to be worth tens of millions of dollars, is praying for poor people to suffer just to get rid of a dude who's actually created a decent economy. Not the Atlantic. The reason why these legacy media tabloids keep getting things wrong is their stubborn unwillingness to admit the possibility of something within politics that they don't want to see. The Atlantic has very bravely taken a half step forward to say, well, maybe we at least admit the possibility. But I wonder if Scott Adams is doing a victory lap. Someone needs to show him this article too. Give him the archive link, because you don't want to give the Atlantic any clicks, any ad revenue, because the legacy media is worthless. We should snuff it out, put it out of its misery as quickly as possible, as much as we can. But you should probably see that. Wasn't it a year ago or so he predicted that the legacy media would slowly come around to Trump and start swinging for him, or at least back off a bit because they're afraid of losing the tabloid revenue? It would be funny. Imagine that Trump loses. Let's put that forward. How does the Atlantic put out all of that spectacular, sensationalistic clickbait that it makes so much money from? All of these legacy media groups keep doing that. Now, it doesn't affect me one way or the other. I'm prized for accuracy in my analysis. It has nothing to do with clickbait. But if you're Salon, if you're Fox, arguably at this point, if you're any of these big name networks or their missing link contributors, you've got to be terrified about the possibility of the end of the Trump era. You don't want to go back to boring Tom Brokaw era politics. You don't want to go back to straight reporting. It doesn't make you as much money. What you have to do is compete with the online independent content creators who can say fuck. They can say edgy shit even if they're making accurate commentary. They don't need clickbait. All they have to do is say fuck or wear lingerie, and CNN loses. It's very funny. People should do that more often. Be more gimmicky. It's fun anyway, and it makes CNN sad, and there's nothing they can do about it. It's like I wear a leather jacket all of the time. At this point, there's no reason to take it off. I find it funny. And they can't do that on the legacy media. They have to wear their uncomfortable fucking suits. It's funny, legendary heat wave, it's 110 degrees here, and they've got like their three-piece suit on. It's always funny to watch that nonsense. It's funny to watch The Atlantic, though. They've been one of the worst. They're one of the most Trump deranged. And yet here they are saying, oh yeah, you might win. It's terrible. We've got to be ready. We've got to be ready for the worst case scenario in which this evil orange bigot wins re-election. What does that say about his opponents? It means that they're weak. They're worthless. Why are the Democrats so fucking stupid? Because that's what exactly they are. That's about all. Peace out.